Hello all, hi, I'm Harriet Minter. I'm very lucky to be joined today by Ruth Brown, Director of Business Development at home care franchise business Home Instead. And we are going to be talking about franchising. In fact, I'm going to be talking about franchising on the channel for, well, a series of videos over the next 4 weeks because I think it's a really great way to become your own boss and create a career that you love, which, as you know, is the thing that I'm obsessed with, but perhaps without necessarily taking the risk of just going out there all by yourself without any support or structure. So over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit more about the world of franchising with the support of Home Instead and how they enable people to be their own boss. So my guest today, the lovely Ruth Brown, Director of Business Development at Home Instead. Hello, Ruth.
Hello everybody. You okay?
Thank you so much for joining me. So we have to say, not only are you part of the Home Instead, so you know franchising from that point of view, you also sit on the board of the British Franchise Association, so you know it all around.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're going to be the best person. Over the next few weeks, we've got a couple of different people who will be joining me to talk about different aspects, including the financing, what it's actually like to do it, how you get started. But today with Ruth, we are going to be just giving an overview and thinking about kind of what it actually is and how you can become part of the franchising model. So franchising is often described as a business in a box. I thought it'd be useful to look up a definition because, I'm being totally honest, I didn't entirely know what it meant. So this is the definition. I'm going to read it to you. It says, a franchise is the right or license granted by a company, the franchisor, to an individual, franchisee, to market products or services in a specific area or territory. Once a franchise has been purchased, the franchisee must comply with strict guidelines and rules regarding the business in order to maintain brand consistency. Ruth, I feel like I have missed something there. Have I?
Yeah, I think I've just had a little bit, but it's very good, by the way.
Thank you.
I think one of the things it's important to note that as well as a transaction, maybe a franchise fee that you pay to get started with that particular franchisor, there's quite often either a royalty fee or a payment on products being sold into that individual. But what you get as a franchisee in return for that is a framework, as you mentioned, a business model that's proven and tried and tested, as well as IT and marketing support, and also to be able to work in under a brand that's already got some recognition and some traction. And I think, you know, whether it's a new franchise that you're joining or whether it's an established franchise, you also get to be part of an amazing franchise network where there are other people who are doing exactly the same thing as you. You can either teach and educate as you go on your journey, or they can help you and share best practice as you go on your journey.
So it's like actually sort of going to work in a business and that you get all the support around you, but it's your business, so you get to decide how you make it work.
Exactly. We have a bit of a saying, which is work for yourself, but not by yourself. And I think that's exactly how franchising industry and how franchising works.
So I hadn't realised how big franchising was. So, I mean, I probably thought that, like, if you'd said franchising to me, I probably would have said McDonald's, which are obviously now going to tell me it's not a franchise. I don't know. But it's huge. Can you give me an idea of the scale?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the stats I'm going to kind of share are from the BFA NatWest survey that came out in 2018. I think, you know, the key one is that, you know, the franchise industry kind of offers over 700,000 jobs, you know, and so that's the amount of employment that we've got. We contribute 17 billion to the economy. And there's over 60% of franchise businesses that turn over more than £250,000. So there's some really good big brands and businesses out there that actually sit within the franchise arena.
I love the fact that you said we when you talked about the franchise industry, because you've actually been in it since you graduated. What do you love about it?
So I think I've loved seeing, which because I've previously worked at a retail franchise. I I love seeing when somebody comes to you, and you will probably see this in your line of work, Harriet, where they know they want to do something on their own, but they're not quite sure. And when you kind of take them through the franchise opportunity, and you can give them all the infrastructure and framework, and then they kind of decide to join you, and then you just see how they grow and develop, and then all of a sudden they've got a team of people, and then they're able to take their family on these amazing holidays, and then all of a sudden they're buying their second property in the country because of the opportunity that you give them. I think that's something that's really special.
And we're going to talk about funding later on in this series, but you talked about people coming in and buying into it. I mean, is it expensive? How much are we looking at, or is that just like how long's a piece of string?
I think that's a little bit like how long's a piece of string, but because there's opportunities for individuals that maybe want to do something alongside their current role, so they can still stay in employment and maybe want to do a part-time role. There's opportunities for parents who have maybe taken a career break due to having children, and then don't necessarily want to go back to their careers, but also want to find a franchise that fits around their families. And then you've got the other end of the spectrum where you've got some investments into large coffee chains. So I think for a good franchise, you will find that the main banks will fund quite a large part of the investment, and that will always be a little bit of a test really for any franchise that you're looking for. Should the banks want to fund against that, that it's a worthwhile investment and a worthwhile franchise opportunity.
And then that's sort of the funding, I guess, or what you put in on the financial side. What you put in on the personal side, do you need experience in what you're going to do? So if you're going to set up a coffee shop, do you need to be a barista? If you're going to work for Home Instead, do you need to know about care? Do you have to have had a background in it before?
That's a really good question. So in the main, no, because a real good franchise will have a training and development program for an individual coming in to that particular industry that enables them to take on that particular franchise. There are exceptions to the rule, so there are like opticians and dentistry practices or psychology franchise opportunities where there is a qualification or skill set needed, but in the main, if it's a mainstream sector, the training and support should enable you to develop your own skills to take on that franchise.
I mean, I think all entrepreneurs know that feeling, right? Of it becomes part of your life and you have to really love it because you are living it the whole time. But the one big, I think, thing that puts a lot of people off going or chasing after something they're passionate about or doing something they really want to do is the fear that if you set out by yourself, you might fail. Is that less likely with a franchise?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you just look at the industry stats, the percentages of franchise failures versus startups is stark. You are seeing that's why banks will obviously really want to fund against a franchise model, because they know it's a proven model where they've seen individuals come forward and run those businesses successfully, and so you're kind of following a path that's already been developed and shaped out. So the failure rate of a franchise is much lower than what you'd see in a startup, for sure.
And so then what's the franchisor's role in all of it? How linked are the two?
So I guess again, every franchise opportunity and franchise partnership will be different, and from a Home Instead perspective, our role is very much first and foremost about protecting the brand, and then the next kind of key focus for us is ensuring that the franchisees that we recruit are very focused on delivering the high quality service to the clients, because that's the two biggest things that we want to look at. What protection of the brand and protection of the clients who are receiving our service. We're always happy to help and share best practice and just have a conversation, whether you're looking at a Home Instead franchise or not. We are here because we are massive advocates of franchising as a whole.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ruth. We are going to be talking to more brilliant people like Ruth over the next couple of weeks, all about franchising. I hope that you tune in for them, but if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat below and I will try and get somebody from Home Instead or other brilliant knowledgeable franchisee people to answer them. And next time we're going to be talking about what it's actually like to do it. We'll have an actual franchisee talking about their experience and what they've learned.